All right, you should be able to see my screen with the PDF on it. So my first student is, I believe, Anne. Anne, are you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Yeah, hanging in there. Good. Yeah. Okay. Let's take a look at your questions here. You mentioned here, I'm not sure about how the retention areas look inside the mediums. Okay, so the islands over here. So you have a good location for a downstream curb cut. And there's basically no 1110 contour within this island because it's not kind of crossing the midway along the 1109 and 1110 contours. So basically, it would be if you imagine your curves, it is a slanted, basically it's a slanted surface, and you have calculated your curb cut being 1109.21, and you should basically just create a depression using that curb cut elevation. Looking for my pencil. Okay. So what you could do would be you look for the elevation being 1 1. Yeah, I'm exaggerating, but there's a curve here, and your curve cut right there is 1109.21, right? You may not have any contours here at all, but we will take a look. So based on that, you could have your RDI at a location at about 1109, right? Just to maintain a little bit of distance. So your RDI would catch the water first before it kind of backflow out of your curve if the water gets too high. Does that make sense? And then you can determine what your bottom would be. Now the bottom could be, if you are designing this for a half foot, so then it could be 1108 or it could be 1108.5, right? But the key thing is the lowest curve. You also need to take a look here. The lowest curve is about 1109.5, right? A little above 1109.5. So I'm drawing this a little too big. I'm running out of space, but you can see that this top of the curve is 1109.71, but then the lowest curve, which is at this location, would be about 1109.5. So that's your curve here. So if you are designing this small retention area, none of the water will flow out of that top of the curve. So you're okay there. Does that make sense? So 1109 point, no, actually 55 maybe is the top of the curve at the lowest point there. So you can see if I determine my RDI to be 1109, I wouldn't have an overflow issue where my water is going to kind of flow out of that curve, lowest curve there. So basically you would have a depression. Now if you choose for it to be 1108, then you would have a 1108.5 contour if you want to get to that level of specificity. But you don't necessarily have to have a 0.5 contour. So all you would need here is the RDI elevation, 1109, right? And you would need the bottom elevation of 1108.00. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. So it
Yeah.
would just be like the low point. I just have to label the low point.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
So you wouldn't have any other 1 foot contour within. No, if you want to, you could actually do a 1108 just there. No, just
mhm.
saying the bottom is flat at a 1108, and then you could have one spot elevation just to emphasize that that is at 1108. That is the
Mhm.
bottom of your, yeah, bottom of your facility. And you don't really need anything else for this one.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah, cool. All right, so that's that one. Clear. Let's move on to the next one. Oh, wrong. That I think I'm missing a contour here, but I'm not sure. Let's take a look. So this one, basically you have a 1109 contour going like this, and then you have a 1108 contour going like that. And then you have a individual 1108 inside of the bioretention area. I think you are not missing a 1108 contour. So if you're thinking you're missing one, where would that be?
I thought it might be on the lower side of the 1108 because I don't know, like there was a berm at the bottom side, but I just yeah, I don't know.
So if we are drawing the contour over here, let's just now do that. So here at this elevation, let's estimate it to be, you know, one, oopsies, I don't, okay. So this is about halfway. The bottom could be 1107.6, okay? And then the top of the curve would be about 1108.1. So we're creating a berm here. No, the ground is slanting down like this, okay? And then here we have about yeah, let's just start with that one. I think the other parts we can ignore. So basically, if we start the cross section start from there, we have a 1109 over here and 1109.5 on the top of the curve. Now we have a curb cut starting from 1108.26. Yeah, it does seem like if we, okay, so this is 09, that's 07.6, and we have a curb cut coming down at this small point, that is 8.26. We have a curb right there, and on, okay, you actually have carved down. If I am trying to draw the cross section inside, my 09 is actually going pretty low to the bottom of 1107.76. Then I go up to 8. Yeah, I go up to 8. 8 is about the, yeah, the bottom of the curve side. And then I go up to 1108.76. And then I go down to the, yeah, we don't know the elevation there yet. So yeah, it seems like we're going this like this. So basically, my water gets in, but you would need in reality, you know, in the real world, you would have rocks definitely over here because your water is suddenly dropped to 1107.76, right? There might be a gradual. No, I think it might be better if your 1108 is actually doing this. So you
Mhm.
recognize that it's going slowly down to 1108 there instead of having your 1108 hit the curve in that way. So it does seem that we are cutting down a bit too fast and created a big drop. We don't have an RDI here yet. I think that's necessary for this one because there is no other way for water to get out once it's full,
Oh,
right? So yes, you would need a RDI. I know both of your curb cuts are in this location, but so it's kind of flexible where you put it. You could put it somewhere here or there. That's both acceptable, close to the curb cuts. Um, so in no, for instance, if we were to reduce that slope, I would actually start from here again. I would gradually, oh, not, I need the line here, please. I would start with that elevation. Then I would say my RDI again would be at 8, right? So my bottom would be at 7. Yeah, so my bottom would be at 7. Then I'm gradually coming down to the 7. And as long as here I have about, 8.5 or 8.25, then I should be able to keep my water out. Does that
mm-hmm.
make sense? Yes. So
Yeah.
so if you feel I need more than a half foot or about half foot, then let's just do 8.5 for the top of your berm at the lower end over here. So here you would have a berm. Again, it's not connected. I shouldn't do that. Yeah, those high points would be about 8.5, and your RDI being at 8 will make sure that this is not going to flow out from anywhere but the RDI.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then would I need a like a closed contour on the downhill side of the berm
Yes,
for the
that's
8?
correct. Yes,
Okay.
your RDI is at 8, your bottom is 7, so you would have a closed contour very similar to what I drew in the with the brown line.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, just to clarify another thing, I know Stuart said in the lecture when he was doing the this kind of fire retention that we didn't necessarily need an RDI since it'll just flow to the one below, and since we're just trying to catch the polluted stormwater, like the first one.
For this one, let's see. If it's full, then it's full at the 826 level. Yeah, that's also, yeah, that's true. Yes,
Okay.
yeah, yeah. If the water can keep flowing downstream, yeah, I think you're right. You don't need an RDI because the curbs, they serve as the mechanism for keeping water from keep going in.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, the RDI would be beneficial in this case if you want to lower the water down to 8 instead of having it kind of feel to the bottom of the curb, right? So right now, if you use the curb, then the 826 is the highest water level. No, anything above that would be keep flowing downstream. And if
Mm,
you do not want, for instance, this area to be in inundation, then you would want to add that extra level of control. Add
okay.
this RDI. Say let's not let all the water flow to 8.26.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah, that makes
good.
sense.
Yeah, that's a good clarification. Um, all right, move to the third question on here. Okay, so currently I can see that we don't have anything for the roof garden yet. So the bioretention on this side can take different forms, right? So we ask you to calculate the area to treat all the surface in the bag, but in practice it could take a number of different ways to manage the water. So if you want to have a garden that is actually treating the roof garden, no, treating the roof runoff, you would have you would have planters close to or even in a little bit of different distance. Then you can have a feature that is connecting the downspout to your garden. Both ways would be totally fine. It's like the sculpture that we showed you in lecture. You could drag it away from the building and then create a feature that is very hard to ignore.
Mm-hmm.
And then so those are planters, or no, they don't have to be vertical walls. You have space here, so they can be again kind of gradual depression as well in this context. And then you need a way to treat the patio as well, right? And depending on how steep your this slope would be, it will be different. If this slope can be pretty flat, now basically if you have a situation where I have a plaza, but I can be pretty flat, for the slope off of that patio space, then no natural dispersion would work. You don't need to create an additional bioretention. But in most of your cases, it could be that the slope here is pretty steep if you don't want the wall to be very long. If that's the case, then it's better to embed a few gardens here, to receive the water from this plaza, having a few, realizing that some of the water won't be sheet flowing into your garden, which is fine. So let me clear this. And if I'm using an arrow, change it to a, okay. So realizing that not all of the water can't sheet flow into your bioretention, that is okay. So you have part of this doesn't, it will keep flowing down. That's okay. But what you could also do is you could also have this area, water could be collected in this area and directed to there. If the sheet flow, if you don't want to make a big depression in this whole, a continuous big depression along this way. Does that make sense? Yeah.
Yeah, that makes
So
sense.
so yeah, it could be pretty flexible depending on how steep the slope over here is.
Mm-hmm. I had a
Okay.
question about the green roof retention.
Yeah.
Um, does that need some kind of drain inlet, or is it just gonna like overflow to um
Ideally, yeah. Ideally, you would not connect that to a pipe system.
okay.
Ideally, you would make it a scupper that is disconnected. Basically, you determine where that water go. It's not going to the pipes directly. It will go to some type of garden, or it will be dispersed into the natural or vegetated slope back here. So yeah,
Okay.
that's
Does that
called
mean it
downspout disconnection. Yeah,
does that mean it doesn't need like a berm if it needs to overflow?
yeah, that's correct. If you have no, if you have a situation like, okay, that's my plaza, and it's naturally flowing down to my depression, and then it needs a berm, and then keep going down. So that is your retention area for your plaza over here. Yeah, I'm again
Okay.
exaggerating this a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah, okay, cool. Anything else that you want to go through?
Um, I did get a comment from the TAs on my base map about the contours in the left hand side
Mm-hmm.
of the page.
Yeah.
Um, they mentioned something about my contours was off, but I looked at the base map the other day and I couldn't really figure it out.
Yeah, I think it was misconnected for the 1112 and 1111.
Oh,
So this 1112, if connected back here, you basically got rid of that portion, and the tree will be gone. right? So this should continue, and then that needs to go back here, and then this is my 1112.
Oh, I
So
see.
yeah, if you can do that, yeah, even drag it up a little, just create a high point somewhere there. And then your 1 would start from somewhere here, again going pretty close to the maximum slope allowable. And that's your 1111. And then start going this way. Yeah, you do have to measure again to see if you have enough space over there.
Okay, and
Yeah,
if I don't, I'll just have to move the
yeah,
driveway a little bit.
right, that's correct.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you.
Okay. Alrighty, we'll move forward to our next student then.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think I have Ryan. He's my next student. Ryan, are you here?
Morning.
Morning. Okay, do I adjust the contours in the grass on the road for these?
I think you answered that in the last section.
Okay, that's good to hear. A curve cut is incorrect. How would I grade this?
I
from the
think you also
12
answered
plaza?
that.
Wow, I was very efficient then. For the roof, biotension
Yes,
API
yes,
is 10
very.
feet above the top. Yeah.
Yeah.
This one, no, depend on. No, this one, it's dependent on where you want to put it. Okay, let me just quickly look through these. So that's 1112. You should connect back to the 1120 over somewhere here. Okay, I think there is an issue with the current location of, well, you have your 13. This is probably 12. Needs to be 12 because this is your 14. 13, 12. No, that should work. It just requires you to make adjustments to. Yeah, it might make more sense to make this 12. Let's zoom back out and see if that makes it better actually for the other areas. So you have 5. This is 1110. 10, 99. So this works. The 12 and 13, yeah, they are not connected correctly over here. I could also see the benefit of changing the contours by 1. 1089. So that you don't have as much change in this area as you would have here. Okay, now I'm just quickly going to sketch out your contour pattern. Oh, like that. Maybe that's better. So you have your 14 here. If we have your 12 here, 13 there, and 11, 10, 9, and I see this one being 9 instead. Yeah, if this is 9, then your building FFE is going to be 9.5. Then the bottom will be 99.5. and your 99 is somewhere over here. No, 99 is somewhere over here. So your 99 will be somewhere around there, the 99 contour on the plaza. Then you would just need the I-98. Oh, that's not 99, sorry. This one is 01. So 99 is actually over here. And then you would have your 98 going down. Why am I... Yeah, I think I confused. Right, because you no, not please don't put the proposed contours in parentheses. They need to, only the original one should be in parentheses. That helps us understand where original contours are. I made a mistake again. So this is your original. This is your original 0, right? And that is your original 99. Is right beside, or I mean, it aligns very well. It's very close to the proposed 99. So you shouldn't need a long retaining wall, and you will be able to return to the original grade right there. So this works better, actually. Works better than the original. Though basically you had to drag all these contours to the downstream side to make them connect, but now you should be able to connect right there at the 99 contour. So the wall can be, I don't want to clear all of them, but the wall can be that long instead. And the same with this side. Come on. Let's clear that wall. And redraw the 99. So your 98 will be the one that is returning back to original grade. Does that make sense? So swap, yeah, switch one contour line, and that should work for the back of the building better. And in terms of the connection here, you can see you're essentially connecting like this, which would kill the trees, just as Anne had in her drawing, right? So your 1112 would be connected to this instead. So 1112 would go like this, and then that would now be kept intact, this area. 11 would also be the same thing. You would know, yeah, I can sense that it's getting very close. Let's get rid of that walkway there, because people see the building there, they would directly walk over just like that. They wouldn't find a way to go like this and then, oh, I don't have anywhere to go at, actually. No, because the sidewalk was not connected there. Yeah, so we can
That's
remove...
a bioretention zone.
Oh, sorry about that. Yes, the bioretention would be integrated with the divergence swell. And there is a small lecture, yeah, dedicated to how that divergence swell could be designed. But do check if you have enough space in this area. Okay. Yeah, I expect that you would need to kind of connect like this, cut that off to make more space in that area, so that you can do something like that. Okay, let me try to clear that one and that one. So, all right, then the contours here, 14, 13, 13 will be going back to the 13 over there. 13 will be going back to the 13 over here. That's correct. Yeah, try to connect as close to original contour as possible so that you don't have as much earthwork to do. Okay, 12 will be going back to this one, and 11, the same thing, going back to that one. Yeah, just keep moving with the same principle. Should be good. Okay. Yeah, we were basically looking through the base map. You need to watch. The 05 needs to attach back to this portion, otherwise the tree is killed, right? You could have a 1105 cross that area like that, but you need to close that one if you are going that direction. You're choosing that option, then you need to close the 1105. So you would have two different 1105 there. Okay. So those are the base map. Let's move forward to the other parts where you had questions. That one. So yeah, at this point it will be good to remove all the division of the drainage area lines, just to make it easy to read for yourself. I am, yeah, having a hard time seeing. Yeah, let's
Yeah,
list them.
it's not there yet.
Yeah, it's not there yet. The ridge is there. The contours are here. So that's 10. So basically your parking lot is like this. And like that. So water drains in this direction, and the next step would be for you to design a few. Yeah, I don't expect that you would have a ramp over here though. That ramp would need to be wherever people get up. So for instance, we're dropping people, this is how we drive, and the bus will probably be parked over there. So that is where you need a ramp. So you would need a ramp over here of some sort, right? And here in this area, it's probably down in that area where the car is parked and then people get off from the drop-off turnaround area. So I don't think the ramp is necessary in this area. Basically, this will become an entirely green area that receives water. Then you could, that's the lowest point that needs to have an opening, right? And then you could divide the whole thing into two parts, maybe just having a curb cut somewhere there. So then you would have one unit and then the second unit. No, the first unit, the contour or the elevation would be determined by however high, whatever elevation that curb cut is at. And the second cell, the elevation will be determined by whatever that curb cut, the bottom of the curb location would be. Right?
So I plan for that area to be like part of the plaza, but if I can make that grass, I would love to. Is that what you're suggesting?
Yeah, I think that's a better solution.
Yes, I completely agree.
I do think that's a better solution, because we're dropping people off there anyway. This is my drop-off area, and I'm not intending for people to kind of come off midway, right? And this is in a pretty good location to be receiving water. Yeah. Okay.
Should I put it like a little walkway beside the parking lot side?
A little walkway. Well, the pavement needs to start somewhere. Maybe some the minimum it needs to start here. You can make the whole thing green, or it could be cut off somewhere there. Now this become a plaza, that's okay too. No, that's actually not going to
Okay.
be a really bad place to be a plaza. Yeah, because you don't really have a lot of traffic, so this is actually pretty an area with low foot traffic, and you have a garden over
Right.
here, so that's not a bad place. Now, either way would be fine. I think cutting off here or cutting off there would be both fine solutions. Okay, I think we have one more down. Okay, this one was how would I go? Yeah, the water. Yeah, the water would for this one, the water would be draining this way, and this is the lowest point. So I would aim for using that as a determination of how high, what elevation my bioretention would be. You don't use the higher one, right? You use the lower one because that's where things will flow out of. And then I do need to be mindful about the lowest curb elevation at that location, right? Remember the cross section that I drew? Now, yes, you're
Right.
opening the curb somewhere here, but you need to watch the lowest curb. What's that top of the curb? So your berm needs to be higher than that. Otherwise, your water will flow out. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Yeah, cool.
Yep. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks, Ryan. We'll move forward to the next one. Take a look here. This be a viable location, it would be better to keep the water going away from the plaza building. That's a good location. That's on the swell line. Now you're roughly you're roughly dividing the plaza into two parts. So that's about midway along the center line in the plaza. Yeah, that's the only question you put on here. So this is Nick's. Do you have any other question that you would like me to go through?
I think there was an issue like with ands on the left side of my contours, but I guess I forgot to put them back up there, so it's gonna be difficult to check that.
Yeah. I can see that your 1112, yes, the same thing. Your 1112 would need to go back to this side. Right?
Okay.
Yeah, and that one will curve a little before going back. Your 1112 being there seems to me a little too close to your original 1103. So you could, depending on where 1113 is over here, you could actually move it over a little bit so that your 1112 would look like that. Because, yeah, because you would try to determine whichever is remains the original contour. For instance, if this is 13 and that's your 1111, then you basically find midway for your 1112 to be. Then you would connect back there. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and this one the same thing. I would do, yeah, only that one. Only that one is going that direction, which I imagine would be not correct. And I think we are missing a few, medium contour. This one seems to be, yeah, should be here. Yes, this one needs to go like this and go back. And then we're going the wrong direction, I think, because your plaza, your parking lot one will tend to be upstream from the connection on the curb. So some of these are connected backwards.
Okay. Yeah, I was confused at that because in my last review, with Stuart, he was saying that because I had flipped the one on the other side.
Yeah.
And so I changed that to the new way. But then he said that this side was good. So I just kept it as is because I didn't know if I was supposed to change it or not.
Well, let's take a look.
And then my I need you to look at the 1107 one too with connections because that one really confused me.
Okay. we'll zoom to a better view so that we can look at the dropping of the parking lot contours. Okay, let's start from this 06 is over here, and this is correct. It's going that way. Our this is 6. 07 is correct, going this way.
Yeah, that's where I
correct.
had the trouble because it doesn't actually
Yes.
hit.
That's correct.
It is correct?
'cause no, you're missing the middle ones. So that cannot be continuous,
Okay.
right? This feels like the original contour. If I may use a different color for the original contour here, definitely this portion feels like the original one instead of,
Yeah.
so they should be moved. They should be moved to here. Yeah, that seems off. Yeah, that's also original. Those are original contours, so they should not be in this location. Let me use a different color to draw all the original contour out so that we can be more clear where things go here. Okay, clear that one. All right, start over. So this one was the original 7 going that way, and that one actually needs to be like this. That's the original. Okay, and this portion actually stays because it's out in the vegetated area. Now the next one is your yeah, the same thing over here. It needs to go like this, and then we keep going. That one goes there, and goes like this. And this one goes like that, and then the next one is this one, that one, which all look good. And now we switch to a different color. So what remains? This remains, better. All of the contour that are in the green area needs to remain, right? So that remains, that remains, that portion remain, that remain, that remain, that's to stay, to stay, to stay. Okay, all those are staying. These are all good. Now what needs to be changed is the parking lot contour, which should move down there, right? This portion of the parking lot needs to move down there. That portion is moving here and there. Now we should play the connecting the dots game. So if I use a red, now I am connecting this there, back there, and going that way, that way, that way, that way, right? So this is my did I make any mistake? I believe is correct. That's my 08.
Yeah, that should be
Yes.
right. I understand. Yeah, I think I understand it now. It was just confusing because in the last review,
Yeah.
he kept drawing on those original contours, so that's what I just kept doing.
Okay.
But yeah, it makes sense now with the offsetting.
Yeah, so we're just trying to connect that one, and this is a little closed contour. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, and this one goes like this, goes like that, goes like this, and then goes back like that, that one goes like this, but needs to go along the curb. And then this,
I think that's the 10.
yes, I am, yeah, I'm getting a little confused. Okay, I missed one, I think. The turning, yes, I missed one. So that one goes back there and it needs to, oh, I missed one of that in this area. So that one needs to go like this and then like that, right? So this portion I should connect back there. So going back like that, now I have a full set of contours. So these are all good, but I would use whatever 13 is here to divide in the middle. That's my 12, and then I will drag that up to make my 12.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it might be a good idea to take a screenshot because the
Yeah,
video will
I
take
got
a little while. Yeah, will take a little while too. I think you are having a pretty steep area in this front plaza, and we should try to change that. So let me clear everything before I move out of this view. Okay, this is connecting to your original 05, so that's good. Double check if you have any little sliver of 05 there. I don't know. No, we have to measure this to make sure that it's less than 50 feet. Just no, looks to me could be close. And the same thing on this side. Check to see if there's anything, just a little sliver of 06. Now close the little sliver of 06 contour at the bottom. Okay, so that's all I have for this portion, and I want to take a look at this area now. Now you have the 1106 correct over here, but yeah, I think your swell is a little too close to your building in this area. So
Well, because
let's try to.
it said that it needs to be a straight line. And so without messing up any of the other like contours I had, I just made it like that.
It doesn't necessarily have to. Well, no, the thing is your center, your ridge line could turn, right? It could have this one and then it could turn off for this for the other portion. So let me try to get to a better view. I'm gonna clear all drawings and then move to a better place to talk about the front contours. So again, I will draw out the original contours. We have the 07 as the original here, and we're having an 06, oh, not like that, 06 like this. And then we do need to have an 06 because you have a plaza over here. But what about if we do 06 like this? Then you would have a center line that goes like this. And then that center line and this diversion contour would be, you know, at some point converge to an area that's very far away from your building. Now, the con of the original design was that, you know, I have a concentration of water going in this direction, and this actually area is where my ramp starts. So if we can, we should try hard to direct water away in where people would walk, especially people with disabilities, right? So by turning the contours away like that, you would be able to have a pretty flat and evenly designed. The only thing that I see a little problem, the contour location might need to be changed a little bit because that one, if I do another 50 feet offset, yeah, that looks like it's going to work. Let me change the color of the center line. So you would have a center line, not eraser again. You would have a center line like this, so that you would have 50 feet here, here, and there. Okay. Yeah, basically you could offset this line and that line and see where it lands for your ridge line. Your ridge line can definitely turn at the HPS location. That's no problem. It doesn't have to keep going the same direction until you get to the front of the building. Okay, so that is the front plaza. Anything else that you would like me to go through?
I mean, I know I need to change my back plaza and the retention, but I have a pretty good understanding on how to do that.
Good. Yeah, if this
so
is 6, you have 7 point something. Yeah, your TFFE is a little too high right now. You can imagine this being 6 would mean this is 7. So your TFFE is 7 point maybe 1 or 2, right? And then the bottom would be 97.1. Your contour will be 97 somewhere here. That's your 97. And your 96 being here is perfectly fine. So yeah, I don't see a connection issue over there. But try,
so we can. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, try to angle your contour a bit more. You still would have water draining to your wall. With that direction, you need to turn it over. Yeah.
And so our FFEs don't have to be like 7.5 or 8, like they can be 7.1 now, because I knew the one requirement made it so that they had to be like a whole number or divisible by 5 or 0.5.
My understanding is it asks you to estimate, but I don't think it has to fall on a 0.5. No, the FFE is basically determined by where your door is in relation to your contour, right? So for instance, if you want to open a door over here, then it's actually 6.5. If you want to open a door over here, then you're having 7.1, right? If you have a door over there, it is actually 6. You don't have to determine, you don't have to identify or label the location of your door, but we would evaluate whether or not your FFE is correct based on the range of elevations from this point to that point. It could not fall out of the range there, right? It also wouldn't be accessible if I suddenly make it 8 or 10 or 9. It will require stairs, for us to get that high. And we're requiring the front entrance to be accessible without a set of stairs. So it would be the highest, be below or equal to the highest location possible just by the contours. Does that clear it up?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, cool. Alrighty. Okay, we're ready to move on?
Yep, thank you.
Sounds good. You're welcome. And let me clear all this. My next student, I believe, is Aubrey.
I'm here. Good morning.
Good morning. So the question, the best place to put the bioretention for the drop off. You would have the bioretention more in this flatter area. So take advantage of that flatter area, because eventually all the water is draining out of the drop off from this location, that's the lowest location, and that location, along the reason that I point out this location is because there's a curb. You would have to open it up for the water to flow out, and and then there's also a cut along the center line as well, because otherwise water could actually flow along this curve and then get out there, but I expect it will be helpful actually to also have an opening there. Yeah, it's not required because your lowest location is actually here and there. So your retention needs to have a connection with those two lowest points. So let me revise this to be actually bigger, that could connect both opening. And that's also your flattest area. And I would say you need to revise your 05 because you can't kill the tree, right? Your 05 would then be stopping there, connecting back to the tree, and then starting from here back to the wall. Okay? Yeah. So that's that one. Clear that and down. Is my DI correct over here? Do you mean this one?
Well, just frankly, in the area, I was a little confused about where to put it.
Right. If your HPS, your original contour should look like. Yeah, there was a drop that wasn't done correctly, I believe. So these are your, yeah, okay, go back. I'm trying to look at your trying to find your original contours. Ridge line was this the ridge line? Oh, use a straight line, please. That's the ridge line, right?
Yeah.
And then I'm trying to see the original contour. Use that. The original contour look like this, and then go back like that. Yeah. And this was the original. Which stay, yes, which stay. Again, change the angle where the contour hits the wall.
Okay.
And then you have this one, that one, and it hits the wall also. You have yeah, the next contour would actually be below somewhere here. Going down like this, and going down like that. This. So this seems to be your contour off the drop-off area, and you are correct. Where these, what's remained was that portion stays. No, this needs to be connected back like that. And then this, yeah, you would have another one over here that's right. And this contour goes back to, not below, but up, okay. That stays. This stays. This goes back there. Oh, backwards. That. And this goes like this. There. It's all good. That portion stays. And go around, and then that one goes there. Correct. one goes like that. That's good. And yeah, I'm a little unsure about this portion. Yeah, this portion should keep going. Should keep going like this. It's all correct. We're missing this one. Okay, yeah, this connects back to there, and then connect back here and go back there. That's correct. And this one is a closed contour. That's also correct. This one stays. Yeah. So that one is a closed one. This one is a closed one, and that one needs to go. I remember we went through this one before, and I think what we did was we went back to, that's a closed one. Yeah, I'd have to move to the view above to fix that portion. But let's talk about the DI here first before we move forward to that area. So we're looking for wherever water is the lowest, right?
Mm-hmm.
So water is draining. Water is draining this direction. So along this center line, the lowest point is somewhere along that center line. Water is draining to that direction, and we're looking for an opening so that we can use the green area here to create a garden. You would not have water. No, if I have, because this is the ridge line, and all water is actually draining this direction, right? No, strictly is draining that direction. Let me clear this one, erase that one. So you can see water is draining this, not eraser, that direction and this direction. But the point of concentration, both direction would be on here and there. So that's where you need to have your opening. It's not necessarily a DI yet. It could take a form of either a DI or an RDI, right? If we basically cut a hole across the sidewalk, then I could put a RDI right there, and that could direct water away. So this one's the same. If I cut through the sidewalk over here, I could have an RDI over there for my bioretention. Now my one, like you did, your 1108 can be moved down to create that flat space for connection to that curb opening. So that was good. But you won't be able to be needing a DI there because that's not the lowest point. Okay, the lowest point, you should examine always the flow direction and wherever it's the lowest in the drop-off area.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Okay, so that's solved. Let's continue and try to look at this area, the drop-off, drop-in parking lot. Okay, move down. Then we'll need to basically start over. I do know this was the original one. That was the original one. And then we have another one over here. Yeah, move a little bit over so it can be pretty accurate. This one, and that one, and this one, and then go out. Yeah, that's correct. And then I have this one. All right. And then this portion become that, and this, then that one became this one. That's correct, but it's only on the parking lot there. So all these lines are what needs to be connected, and we have to do it in this direction, and that's 07. Where's my 07 go? 07 eventually come back there, right? So my goal is actually to connect 7 here, and I'm going upstream to connect along the curb. So I have a little portion of that here. Then I go around the curb again to connect back.
Okay.
Yeah, believe this is correct. And then this is a closed contour. Then I have an O, so that's 07. Nope. Yeah, that's 07. This is 06. 06 needs to go back where? This is 06. 06 originally you would have a closed contour of 06. Yes, you did have an 06 that go across, but you have another 06 that should be just in going along the curve like that. Okay, so you have two 06.
Okay.
One closed one, and then the other one goes around. But that one, depending on how you design your bioretention, that could get changed once you calculated out the curb cuts too thick. But we talked about the lowest point being here and there, right? So
Yeah.
depending on these two locations, that's the lower one. So we will need to use the curb location of that one to determine the elevation of this bioretention there.
Mhm.
Okay, but it won't. I don't think it will change that you would have 2.6 over there.
Okay.
Alrighty, so that's that. Anything else that you want to go through?
I don't believe so. That was very helpful though. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, we'll move forward. Well, give me 5 minutes. Okay, I'm gonna need to go get some water, and I'll be right back. Alrighty, I'm back. I think this is Joey's drawing, and let's take a look if you...
You would be correct.
Yeah, hi Joey.
How you doing?
Yeah, any questions here?
Yes, I do have a few.
Right.
So first off, so I put I think we talked a few reviews back about at the bottom of the bus drop off putting a retention pond. So
Yep.
like I tried with the, and I'm not quite sure if it goes over well. I do have to refer back to those videos. But like that's kind of where I was thinking about putting it. Does it like
Yeah.
kind of work?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I think this will be lower than 6.5. You would need to again calculate it because
Yeah.
based on the location of this contour, it will be lower than 0.5. So that would need to be calculated out later. The bottom is 1105.3. That seems to me about 1 feet. Yes, yeah, that's good. You won't have an LPS here. You're still trying to create it will be LP, and you will be you would have multiple LPs at the same elevation. So it would just explain that this is pretty flat. The bottom will be flat. It is not for conveyance. It's for for water to travel vertically to infiltrate, right? So that's that. But I do think your elevation looks pretty good. You have a 1106 contour around it. That's correct. And you have a berm of a 1 foot high, which is a little high, but that's okay too. But it seems that you're missing a 1106 contour between the 05 and yes, one contour got lost during the process. So if I zoom back a little bit, this is 7. That's 7.
Yep.
And you have 7 over here as well, because that's your 7.
Yeah.
And
I see what you're talking about.
would need to, yeah, the wall can be right against that that stair. Then you only have 5 here. You need another 6.
Okay.
Yes, you're missing 1 6, and you know how you troubleshoot your own drawing would be, if I look at this and I look at the spots, I have 7, then I have 5.
Yeah.
Right. So that gives me a signal that something is probably missing in between.
Yep.
Okay. Any other areas of concern?
Yes. I wanted to put in the middle of the bus drop off another bioretention area. Is that worth it, or is it like
Yeah.
the bioretention pond enough?
That's pretty good if you can.
Okay.
Because this is again a pretty good area. So it could kind of treat all that drainage area. I need to move it out, but that's the area that this drainage would be able to treat, and I would think it's worth it.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, if you put a trench drain there, then it will be cut off by that one. Yeah.
Okay. And then speaking of trench drains, on the top area, like the top parking lot, the TAs said that my furthest left trench drain, furthest right trench drain wasn't necessary. And I wasn't, and I felt like I think you told me to put it there, so I was kind of like confused whether to keep it or not.
This one, not necessary.
I thought it was necessary, but
I would think the same. Otherwise, no. Otherwise, well, it could. No, yeah. If you decide that along the way I'm changing my strategy, you could get rid of it and instead putting a bioretention here, which could definitely work because you have a flat area. I can see the TA's point because at some point you start to angle like this, right?
Yeah.
You start to angle like that. So, more of water will be travel down this way, and they should be able to get in any of these areas. So I can see how they would consider. Yeah, I think it's you can, if you would like to, definitely get rid of that one.
Okay.
But this works
I don't have
too.
to.
No, if
Okay.
you want to put a trencher in there, it works as well.
Okay.
I can imagine if you put a curb cut over there, you're still treating a pretty small slivers of land, but this one will be able to receive a significant amount of water.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then most of the no, everything else is going to get into your swale. The swale is over here. Oh. Why is it? Yeah, cool. The swale is over here.
Yeah, I have
And
to
if
fix
that's the case, yeah, some of that needs to be fixed. There's ambiguity where the swale, and it doesn't really matter that much. No, it's only a small turn or not. But it would be good if you can draw it out so everybody would be clear where exactly that is.
Yeah.
So yeah, this contour would not seem off at all after that. Okay. Most of the water will be getting into the swale. So it will be worth it if you don't, even if you use that trench drain, you would need to open up curbs along this way because water is draining toward that curb, and
Yeah.
you do have a DI needs to be installed there at the dead corner, and all the water eventually will come out somewhere here, and you have a flat area there, which is good. If you can do so, if you don't need as much of an area in that location, then you could expand that one to here. So basically tighten this area up, and enlarge this area, maybe even like that. So because this is the swell, it's also receiving all the water from the plaza. So that's why this one needs to be bigger, and that one is only receiving. For instance, if I remove that one, you can see if I open up the DI here, it's only going to be this much area. Not perpendicular, but yeah, it's only going to be that much area, right?
Okay. Yep.
But instead, no, the end of the swell is actually receiving a much larger drainage area.
Okay.
All right.
And then, so I think every time the TAs go over my stuff, they tell me that the lower plaza needs contours. So I keep
Oh
forgetting.
yeah.
So I think it's just like grading the parking lots, right? Or I mean grading the upper plaza. It's the same idea.
So you have your TFFE at 1107.5. Okay, that's well. I would check. Now, if this is 7, and that is 7, you might have a small contour. I don't know. We need to measure the distance here.
Yeah.
Right.
Mhm.
And your ridge line would also be turning because this was like this, but
Yep.
then it will be halfway like that.
Correct.
No, that angle needs to be the same, and then you can be pretty precise in terms of your TFFE. It does look like if I am opening up my access, my door there, I would be about 1107.5, and then this is 1097.5, and then you would have your 97 be here, right?
Okay.
And we're trying to aim for 2% slope out of the back door. So I'm looking for where 97 is as the original contour. Having a hard time because I'm not seeing the contour number.
I think it's actually that like the contour that goes through the corner, the
This
right
is
corner.
97.
Yeah, I think that's 97.
If this is 97, you would have 97 hit the wall, and you would have 97 and 96 going around, right?
Yep.
Yeah, because this does look like to me no less than 50 feet. So your length of the wall, it's probably appropriate. No, depending on where the 97 is and 96 is on the side.
Okay.
Yeah, let me clear everything, and I just want to double check by zooming out. So this is your, okay, that's 0. This is 0.
Okay.
7
Yep.
is over here. 6 is over there. So your
Oh,
wall
okay.
is even shorter.
Okay.
That's your 96. And your 7 would be here, there for the plaza, and your wall would be needing to extend between your 6 and your 5.
Gotcha.
No, 7 and 6, sorry.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, I think that's pretty much
And be sure to turn those contour.
Yep.
Yeah. Alrighty. Thanks,
Thank
Joey.
you.
Yeah. I think I have Desiree as my next student. Okay. Need to lower the LP. How to determine if the retention area needs a raised drop inlet. So Desiree, maybe we can start with this one. What are you referring to this retention area there?
Say that again, sorry?
Are you referring to this retention area for whether or not it needs an RDI?
Yeah.
Okay. So that one would likely need one because there's no other mechanism to prevent a excessive flow to get in. No, in the parking lot, in most of the situations, water will keep flowing downward, right? It won't enter a curb cut anymore if the bioretention is full. So the curb itself acts as a overflow mechanism. But in the landscape area, water keep flowing in. If there's no way for it to get out once it's full, it will basically flush everything down, right? Everything downstream, and and causing the water to be mixed together. Also, you would have the risk of actually disrupting the bioretention area if it gets too much water and the flow gets erosive. So this one, yeah, I would say because is out in the vegetated area, there's no curb or any other mechanism to discharge the overflow. That's why it does need an RDI for this particular one.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I get that. The only other question I had was in the middle bioretention area when the bus roundabout. I was having trouble with like the contour on the low point number number because it's higher than the 11107, but I don't know if I would be able to lower it than I already lowered it 1 foot up below the curb cut.
Yeah. So this one for the first thing is you open up the curb at the highest location, so it won't be able to receive much water there, right? You will need to open the curb at the at the lower elevation. So the curb cut would need to be in these locations for it to get water. So that's the first thing. And now then you use these locations elevations determine how low the bottom of the retention will need to be. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it definitely makes sense. Okay.
Yeah. So that's that. So if that's the case, your BC at the curb cuts would be about 1107.6, something like that. And then you would say that is 1107.6. And if I know whether or not I have an RDI, that's optional. If I basically determine the water, the highest, the deepest depth would be 1 foot, then my bottom would be 1106.6. So that means I have a 1107 contour, a closed contour of 1107 in this bioretention. And then the curb here, now in order to prevent, you already have a 1108 there, so I don't think you actually need a berm for your because you're not going to get below 1107.6 on the other side. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So then all the high points that I would have there, I wouldn't need to put them in?
You do need a high point. You don't, I don't think you need a high point because you have the curb. Yeah, you have the curb on this side. We're going down. The curb over here is actually 1108.4, something like that, the TC. And your curb over here, let's say the bottom of the curb being 1107.2, for instance. So the top of the curve will be 1107.7, is just a little above. So let's still, well, you have a 1108 there, so I don't think you have an issue. Let's be precise of where things are. So if this is the curve over here on top, and that is the I would have something like this, and this is the lower curb, and I would have another 1108 somewhere over here, and then bottom is 1106.6, that's 08. So you already have a berm created by your 1108 contour. I honestly think you will be fine without, I think you will be fine without a berm over there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also have another question on a comment on one of the TAs said. So they said for my entries drive to align it to the center line of the other driveway, the existing road. Does that mean that I need to lower my proposed road a little bit down?
Can you say that again, please?
So the TA said that I need let me read it. That I need to align my intersection center lines for the existing road.
Intersection center
to my proposed road.
Is it this area?
Yeah.
Okay. Lower your existing. I'm still not quite getting that comment. But I do see some of the connection. Yeah, some of the connection looks off. So your 1111 will be there. Your 2 needs to connect back here. So yeah, you would need to leave a little bit more space in between for your 1111 to connect, and then your 1110. And then you have your, that's 12. You need to connect to your 13. Your 13 is over here. If we do this, we need to get rid of the curb here. That makes sense? Yeah, the curb actually, no. if you have a curb here, basically we need to connect back there and connect back there, and that's your 13. So that's how you do the entry drive that way. The 14 will stay there. Yeah, that's a good. That's good. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'm still not quite catching what the comment was about, but I think you have a solution here.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
And then one more, for the other bioretention that's next to the entry drive, I wouldn't need a drain inlet nearby, or is it fine the way it is?
Just a second, I'm trying to see this area. Yeah, this doesn't concern any of the center line or anything, so I think we're fine. Okay. Yeah, can you repeat the one that you mentioned just now?
The bioretention in the entry drive. Is it like, I was wondering if this will need a raised a drain inlet at all? Like
this one don't.
Yeah, that one.
No, yeah, this one it's one of the first ones. If you have too much water, will just keep flowing down along the curb.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's all the questions I have.
Okay. Good work.
Thank you.
Okay, yeah, we still need to do ramp later on. Okay, that's for later. So, moving forward, Abigail.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Good.
Pretty good. Good to hear. Questions. Let me go through them first. Is this in the correct area? How many LPs are needed? And this one is about put a trench drain. Yeah, you could put a trench drain like that. And this one, would you need a CC? No, there's no curb. There's no curb on the plaza, so you don't need a curb in that area. This one. How do you make sure the curb is to the most accurate elevation? Well, you use you measure the distance to the closest contour, and then use the 2% to calculate. And this one.
That one I realized I did wrong now. It should be up.
Be down the slope. Okay. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, it will be close to. Will be a little bit lower than the lowest point where water enter. But let's take a look at this area. So what I noticed was the contours over in this area do need to be changed, because right now they're conflicting with the existing contour. And once you decide how much area you need for each of the retention area, you can tighten the contours back like this, so you don't cross multiple contours here. You can reduce the impact of 1107, for instance, like this. Does that make sense? So then all these contour, if they need to move, they don't need to move as far.
Okay.
Yeah. Right now you can see, a lot of the contour are your one. Let me screen back. Yeah, your 107 is actually crossing your. Yeah, this is almost 09. Your 07 is crossing your 99, right? And there's 8 feet of difference there, and you don't want to do that, because this will require you to keep moving those contours downstream. You want your 07 to stay as close to your original 07 as possible. So what I think might need to happen would be looking like this. So now, yes, we're still conflicting, but we're limiting that overlap with the existing contour. So now you can see I still need to keep moving, but I probably don't need to move out of my property line to make it happen. Okay, that's the first thing I noticed. Let's go to the retention area here. So for LP, if you have two, it should work. It should be sufficient. And I see you're designing a 1/2 foot deep retention area, and the curb cut is about 6.8. Okay. Well, it's probably still a little lower, but how you calculate is actually you measure the distance from your point, the curb cut, to here. Then you use the 2% slope to figure out the elevation change, and then that's how you get the very accurate calculation later on. I wouldn't suggest doing that just yet, because if with any changes, if you end up recalculating all the elevations, you will really hate this course. It's thousands of, not thousands of, I counted about 6,000 spot elevations that I would check at the end of the semester when grading the assignment. So definitely hundreds of elevations that you need to calculate. And let's try to estimate. I think the estimate here at this stage is sufficient. And then once you fix all your contours, then that's when you start the accurate calculation, so you don't have to do it multiple times. Now, the issue here is actually the location of the cut. Now, with an opening over in that location, you're actually not going to receive a lot of water. Instead, your lowest point is over here. You have a DI. The DI, if you make the cut, any water that's not being able to get in other places will keep flowing down, right? So that's not your lowest point. Your lowest point will be here, and then your lowest point will be somewhere here. We'll explain this one later, but definitely this is in that corner. So this will be connected to the bioretention over here instead, right? So this one seems to be a bit below 1106.5, and then that's how you determine. Oh, your RDI is way too low. Your RDI will be slightly below your curb cut. So as we just drew all these sections, whenever you have a curb cut, you're going down, and that elevation determines how hot or how much, at what point water stopped coming in. All right. Yeah, it's been a long day, so I can't get the word out of my mouth. So 1106.4, for instance, that's that curb cut there. And if you have an RDI, you would want the RDI to be 1106.15 at least. Aiming for at least a 0.25 difference between the RDI and the curb cut. So that's slightly down. Otherwise, if I have an RDI kind of way down over here, I am honestly not utilizing this much space to store water. So it's a little bit of a waste of space. I need to dig a deeper hole, and water, as long as it gets to this point, it will start flowing out, right? So my RDI will be slightly below my curb cut. And using that one to determine what your LP would be. So that's that one, and I'm going to clear this, and then I move down here to show why there is another low point that needs attention and connection to your retention area. So you have your center line going along like this. So that's my center line, and now you need to compare the center line location with the lowest point along. I would need to do a calculation of whatever the tangent point. So this one is not necessarily the furthest away from your 07 contour. That one, wherever, if you place a parallel line along this curb with your contour, that may be the furthest line. Now, granted that there are very small difference between these two distances, but just notice that it's not necessarily just that point where your center line runs through. There is a tangent point, potentially very similar or even slightly lower than the elevation along the center line, right? That means all the water eventually, I apologize for all the arrows going the wrong direction, but that was basically the distance, between your 1107 contour and the potentially the lowest point along that curve. So whichever is the lowest point, it needs to be opened up and have a connection to the retention area in this area. So your retention would likely be in the form of this. So granted that, now water come in at a different elevation, so maybe there is two different units. So they would appear as pretty independent in terms of what the contour would look like. It's possible. But these are the required connection that we have to make. One from here and one from there, because they are the lowest point. If there's no cut, water will be ponding there. That makes sense? Yeah, and this one is good because you have your trench drain for RDI going down there. And that one is for the plaza only, so that's good. Does that help?
Yes, that makes a lot more sense. Thank you.
Cool. Yeah, I remember addressing these ones. All right, and let's move to the bottom of the drawing. I remember there's a few others here. So yeah, that one we talked about, the RDI here. You have a big plaza. Yeah, I'm not convinced yet the plaza needs to be this big. I think you can drop people off. I think you drop people off along this curb. So you might be able to limit the pavement, because we would want, when people are driving, turning, I would see the building and then I would start walking over there. If I get I park here, that's okay too, but it's a longer walk and I don't have a direct visual connection to the I would say yes, let's drop people off there, and in this way we can reduce some of the pavement that's necessary. So maybe my pavement could be like that, and then I can start my retention early with that flat area. Then wherever I would have a a garden, yes, the water will be flowing down from the lowest point along the center line, right? Now in that case we'll be here. And then I'm going to then use that low elevation to determine how deep this needs to be. At the same time, I would also need to consider the water coming out from this direction. This direction and that direction is the two directions that both have water, and my DI again wouldn't be here because that's not the lowest point. Water is keeping flowing down this way, right? Not perpendicular again, but water is flowing down this way. Not helping me zoom. And how you find out the lowest point would be, again, I found the furthest away distance from the 1107 contour to the edge of the curb. So that, I tend to erase them. So that's where your DI need to be. And that one is actually lower than this one. right? Because this has a curb, and that's the bottom of the curb elevation out of the drop-off area, and this one is on top of the plaza. So and they're so close, and it doesn't really make sense to separate two units by having one over here and then one over there, because they're really close. So you would determine the bottom of the garden over here using the lower one, using this one. So that one, it feels like there's even another contour. Let's see. So that's 1107 and 8. And yeah, it seems like there's another one over here that's a closed contour. So that is 0.59, something like that. So the BC here, the BC there, come on. BC in this area would be about 5.9. So that means that one, the bottom of that would be about 4.6 or 6, something like that. So if I have my RDI equals to 5.6, if I want a 1 foot deep, then the bottom, the LP here, would be 4.6. Sorry. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you would have a closed 5 contour for that retention because the bottom is below 5. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Anything else?
I think that's it. Thank you.
That's it. Cool. Yeah. Well, keep working on these for my group, and I will stay in this room in case anybody else have any questions. All right.